How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Deadrock. Chapter 4, Death Arena. The cover page for this chapter kind of continues the trend that last chapter started, having multiple of the classmates on the cover. The first thing I think about when I see this cover is like kind of replicating the Captain America Civil War poster. Kind of cool that it's continuing what the last chapter started, and I wonder if you're going to get what they're looking at in next chapter. We pick up the chapter with Class F kind of reminiscing about them defeating Class D, and I like them kind of all walking together bragging about, their victory. They very much brush over what happened last chapter with Yakuto, with him having kind of the poisoned arm and then that cat girl finding him. You get a little context as to what that poison was on his arm, that it was actually a curse. No more explanation after that. That's literally just it, and you don't even get to find out what that girl's name is. You get the class kind of reuniting together, and they're getting ready to, go to class, and their class today is practical training, which I love that Frey is like so excited that, obviously she gets to fight people, and honestly she is kind of the star of this chapter. They arrive at the Coliseum, and they're like, okay, we're about to probably meet one of the demon teachers. And of course, you do get one of the demon teachers, that being Luzin, and gosh dang, he's eccentric. He is quite the interesting dude. On the surface, his personality seems okay, that he just really likes seeing people fight and, being involved in fights. And even the class themselves was super excited about like his attitude and kind of hyping them up and wanting to see them fight. And Yakuto obviously sees this as an opportunity because one of his goals is to kill God, but also the demon teachers, and everyone is all grouped up here, and they're like, well, could we like jump him and win right now? Just as he's getting his little game plan of like, okay, this is how we're gonna jump him, this is how we're gonna beat him. He starts to assign one-on-one duels, and he immediately kind of gets that plan thrown out the window. So Yakuto is going to be fighting Frey, and I love how fast she jumps on him, that she wants to fight him, and I love the panel with her hugging him. And kind of interesting that Makoto wanted to sit this out and saying that she's feeling sick, which I'm feeling is very deliberate. Like, I don't feel like she's actually sick. I quite like the fight between Yakuto and Frey, that she has been wanting to fight him since she laid eyes on him practically. And he's very hesitant about it. He's like, we're friends, so I don't want to hit you. And I love that it's kind of like the Natsu mentality. Like, okay, I'm not going to hit you, but I'll kick you instead. And she does get him to use his dragon root. And, you get a pretty cool panel with them clashing. And he's got like the dragon arm. This panel might be my favorite thing in this whole series so far, because as they're kind of clashing there, you get Frey saying that she's read a story about a battle between a fire wizard and a black dragon before. And Yakuto was like, hey, that sounds like us. Who won that battle? And I absolutely love, Frey's kind of reaction to this, like, oh, it was the fire wizard. And she very much has got the Natsu face right there. And I absolutely love that. Obviously, that is a reference to Natsu fighting Acnologia and him beating Acnologia. That does imply that Fairy Tail is a story within Deadrock that people, talk about. So you get kind of more of the rest of the class fighting, and you get Ryzen kind of revealing his root, and he has this 8-sword method, and that's pretty dope. Which, just saying, if he had that to begin with, he died kind of like a chump. The Hano and Chako battle really isn't all too eventful. It really isn't much revealed there. But going back over to the Yakuto versus Frey fight, I really like that they're kind of having a casual conversation as they're punching each other. And he asks her, why did you come to Deadrock? I like getting some of her backstory, that she, likes to fight, but the real reason is she wanted to surpass her big sister, because she didn't graduate. She was way stronger than her, and that she, went to Deadrock, but she died before she could graduate. And if she's able to graduate, she obviously made it further than her sister did, which I absolutely love. This flashback panel with her talking to her big sister, and them talking about how they're going to make a flame kingdom and that she's going to be a flame knight, and them like having a cute hug. And just as you get this really nice moment, you get Losing kind of coming in here, breaking everyone up and saying, you know what, I want you all to fight. And then he shows this like zombie army that he has, and it turns out all these people are what he calls his battle pets, which they are very grotesque looking. And these are students that he's picked throughout the years to become his pets. And just when you thought he was going to be a nice guy, he shows his true colors here by, kind of doing some bad things to these pets of his, and implying how much of a messed up guy he really is. And if you get bit by one of his pets, you turn into one of his pets. And they even note that they all look like zombies. And technically they are not zombies, because Makoto gets asked, can she control them? And she's like, nope, they're not dead, but they're not exactly alive either. And they start getting attacked by all these former students. Obviously, Yakuto realizes, hey, this guy's super messed up. He needs to be taken out immediately, and he tells everyone to stand back, and he starts going into his dragon form, which initially I thought that this form was just going to be relegated to his arms and kind of looking more buff like this one panel here. But gosh dang, was not expecting him to fully turn into Acnologia. Like, that was actually kind of a surprise. Like, obviously they had Acnologia be behind some of his attacks, but obviously that's kind of a stylistic choice, because there's been many a times that like Natsu in Fairy Tail does a Fire Dragon Iron Fist, and then they have an image of Ignale behind him, which obviously Natsu cannot turn into Ignale. So I thought that was kind of a situation here. Well, I was not expecting him to be Acnologia. And honestly, he makes very, very quick work of all these pets and shows how much of a menace he is going to be. Dare I say it, but Yakuto might be the strongest base main character that Heroes made if you compared like first few chapters of like Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, Rave Master. I don't think any of them had this power like right off the bat. And just as you get them kind of reacting to Yakuto, turning into this dragon and having this massive show of power, you get, quite frankly, probably the saddest thing in the story so far, with Frey having to see her older sister in a very decrepit state, and I don't even know how they're gonna deal with this, because that's gotta be scarring. And with that, that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. Compared to the last few chapters, I like that you're getting characters' backstory, you're getting depth. I like that you're kind of building little relationships with everyone. I think for me personally, I really have liked Frey from the beginning, and her backstory is really sad right here, because I don't even know how she's gonna deal with, her sister being in this really messed up state. Would not shock me if they try and figure out some way to save her and potentially have her join the main group. The fact that things have not been going the normal Hiro Mashima way, they could potentially have to kill her, and like she has to witness her sister actually die. But obviously I think the main standouts are obviously how much of a douchebag this teacher is, because he actually starts out pretty chill, but he turns out real creepy towards the end. I quite enjoyed this chapter. I liked the depth. I liked the fights within this chapter, kind of getting to see more people's abilities. What are your guys' thoughts of the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.